mess. Do me a favor, everybody. Click like, do subscribe, share, comment, chat, do all the things here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Follow us around the internet at BIDWKB. So, guys, of course, I've been following the sordid story of the saga of Sean P. Diddy Combs. Sean Combs, not charged with anything, not currently indicted of anything. However, did not stop Homeland Security and the feds from running up into his Miami mansion and his Los Angeles mansion as well some days ago. Guns were put to the heads of his kids, his adult children, may I remind you. And many are saying that it was definitely a overuse of force by the police. So, sure, that can certainly be argued. I'd like to argue about the overuse of force Diddy has used to coerce sex from his subordinates, but maybe we'll get into that a little later in the conversation. But here's where I wanted to take this, you guys, because Diddy has had some of the biggest celebrities as his friends, as his collaborators. Diddy has discovered a number of big artists. Usher comes to mind. Biggie. I'm trying to think of people that's still alive that Diddy might can lay claim to. But what else? You get it. So Diddy is an A-lister, has been an A-lister for decades now. Okay. And so in the wake of all of this accusations swirling around him concerning a lot of things, from abuse to sex trafficking to harassment. A lot of this stemming obviously from the civil lawsuit brought by Cassie, his former girlfriend and former bad boy artist herself. And then the floodgates seem to open. Diddy has been hit with at least 3 other civil lawsuits alleging outright rape and other things, and coercion of sex. And Little Rod, the producer, says that he saw Diddy putting drugs in women's drinks, perhaps some underage women, girls. Let me not say women, because underage and women is an oxymoron, guys. So don't let anybody ever say underage woman. No, no, no. That is a girl. That equates girl. But what I have been notably struck by is the terrible surrogacy. I told y'all Diddy's big A-lister, got lots of friends. Well, where are his friends? Are they going to be low down? Will they ever be around? Or will they turn their back on you? And the ones that have not turned their back on Diddy, I'm sure Diddy wished them niggas would turn their back on him, because I have seen some of the goofiest defenses of Sean Diddy Combs. I hate to say this, though, coming almost exclusively from Black men, being co-signed by self-hating Black women. and it's very sad, because what a lot of these men are not considering is what Diddy is being accused of. But even in their defenses of these accusations, it does not come across very well. And I'm trying to think. I have a lot of decisions. I have a lot of places I can go to begin, and I'm trying to figure out which one to start with, because they are all wayward and goofy in their own way. So let's start with one of the most well-known Diddy defenders, and that would be Stevie J. Stevie J is a hip-hop producer, also a reality star, and Stevie J has been a longtime friend, associate, and collaborator of Diddy. Okay, that's all that I will say to the extent of the relationship, because again, I don't fucking know what these niggas do. Regardless. So anyway, here's Stevie J, and I believe this is his interview that he gave to TMZ last week. Or was it this week? I don't know. But I remember I watched this shit. By the way, side note, TMZ Live is one of my guilty pleasures, right? And I don't feel I feel less bad about admitting that to y'all in real time after we've had some of our, I would absolutely say, more learned comrades admit to also consuming lowbrow television. So, okay, here's my lowbrow guilty pleasure. It's TMZ Live. I'm sure y'all have figured this out by now. So, anyway, Stevie J showed up on TMZ Live, and when asked about the allegations of sex trafficking, I want y'all to listen very closely. I want y'all to listen very closely to Stevie J's answer when asked, was his friend of nearly 30 years trafficking women for sex. Please take a listen. Please take a listen.
Is under investigation, including human trafficking. So
human trafficking. I've been around this guy for 29 years. I never saw no underground tunnels or this and that. Listen, man, I know that Diddy sued Diageo, and here we are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, this is a guy who started, something big for the culture for us, as far as musically entertainment. He built Ciroc, he built schools, he did all this. They try to take everything away from this guy.
So Stevie, let's talk about that, because you
okay, that's good. Thank you.
It's been going around
that's it. Okay. That's good. Thank you. It's moving in the real time. I can see it. It's okay. So, I hope you guys had the opportunity to hear that. Oh boy. So, Stevie J said that the allegations concerning sex trafficking are untrue because he never saw no tunnels under Diddy's house. He never saw no tunnels under Diddy's house. What did this nigga think we talking about here? The Underground Railroad? What Stevie J thought that Diddy was trafficking sex workers underneath his home from one mansion to the next mansion over there on Star Island in Miami? Do you hear the ridiculousness of this shit? And do you hear the seriousness in which Stevie J answered that question? Ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. But I wanted to touch on something that Stevie J, two things that he said there. First, he brought up Diageo, which you guys know is a tremendous liquor distributor, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Did he sue Diageo for racial discrimination, alleging that they weren't pushing his vodka or his whatever the fuck, his tequila over George Clooney's tequila? It's like, oh, okay. Rich nigga problems that I don't give a fuck about. And it was wild to see some people in the community pick that up like, yeah, man, they doing Diddy wrong. You know, that's fucked up how they do the black man. It is fucked up how they do the black man. But guess what? Diddy don't give a fuck how fucked up you as a black man are being done out here by the world. So please do not concern yourself. Do not cry for me, Argentina. Don't worry about Diddy. He's chilling in his mansion with and enjoying his underage sex parties with all of his, accoutrements, etc. So anyway, so there's that part. But there's many in the community that do subscribe to this conspiracy that because Diddy has filed this lawsuit against this, the big corporation, that all of this investigation into his alleged crimes of varying backgrounds, which, by the way, we do not fully know what the feds are investigating Diddy for. We can make some assumptions, safer otherwise. So anyway, a lot of people in the community are subscribing to this Diageo conspiracy. Maybe, but here's my thing: multiple things can be true at the same time. There could be a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is exerting its tremendous political influence and financial influence to maybe grease the wheels of law enforcement to maybe make this thing go a little further. But I would very much love to hear that Diddy didn't do this. Okay, like he could be being targeted by law enforcement at the urging of Diageo, and Diddy could have also done the things that he is accused of, right? Because again, when there's smoke, there's fire. When we're talking about accusations, multiple accusations, again, the ones that we know about in the form of these civil lawsuits, are, again, just the ones that we know about that have been put somewhat on the record. We don't know all of the people in total that Diddy has harmed or coerced or subjected to abuse over these last few decades. So there's that. Also, Stevie J said in that clip, Diddy, what I'm saying? He gave us some rock. You know what I'm saying? He built schools. You know what I'm saying? He built something for the culture. Guys, if you consider yourself part of the hip hop culture, hip hop generation even, what has Diddy being the front face for Ciroc ever done for you? And if you did graduate from a Diddy school, raise your hand. Can I ask you what that experience was like? Where is this school? And I'm not saying Diddy has done zero philanthropy or whatever, but whatever his level of philanthropy does not measure to the amount that he as a capitalist has extracted from his artist and from us as the public, as consumers, of said art, right? And fuck that nigga if he gave us Ciroc. He gave niggas vodka. How can y'all turn y'all back on Diddy at this moment? I have one other ridiculous clip to play from this Stevie J interview that, again, you guys must hear because, as I said, this we are seeing some of the worst public relations surrogacy ever. Whoever Diddy's PR team is, they need to return the check because this isn't going well. This is not yet going well. And by the way, I actually think that Stevie J sent a veiled threat to a lot of Hollywood A-listers in a clip that he recently posted on his Instagram page. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. Well, if you could cue up that next Stevie J clip for me, because the overuse of force is something that I will concede, but I don't even view it so much as a concession because yes, I know I'm not unbiased here. Like, no, do I want people who have been accused for many years of specifically harming women, harming women? Do I want those people to go down? Yes, and I don't care in the form that it comes. I don't care if these niggas get hit by elephants. I don't care how it comes. If it comes with the feds overdoing it in armored vehicles, I'm sorry. Them's the breaks, Holmes. Isn't that what you tell the motherfuckers who you steal they publishing from? Don't you say that to them, Diddy? Them's the breaks, dog. Like that's the business. That's how it goes. But here's Stevie J commenting. Here's Stevie J commenting on the use of force, and look how and whom he compares the feds raid on Diddy's homes. Look who he compares it to, and try not to laugh. Let's take a look.
I was at his crib working in the studio. I was sitting outside the studio door, and I heard a big boom. Now, mind you, before we get into this, I'm not a spring chicken, even though I look fly here and stuff. But I've witnessed some historical events of excessive force, but none like this since Saddam Hussein or El Chapo or Pablo Escobar, even Osama bin Laden. I heard a big boom. So I'm thinking, like, a lot of people do work on the island all day long. So I'm figuring someone dropped some materials. Heard it again. Turn my head, I'm hearing do, 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 do. Armored vehicles, 3 big armored vehicles come. Dudes jump out, I got 50 dots on my shirt. Screaming, yo, get on the ground. I'm like, yo, really? I'm the only one here.
Stevie, when you say you had 50 dots on your shirt, you mean like laser? You're talking laser. Laser guide.
Lasers, yeah.
Okay, so they put you on the ground?
No, they like told me to walk back to them. They didn't even do all of it. They just told me to walk backwards and all of this, boom, boom. And I'm just like, yo, y'all got a search warrant. All y'all got to do is knock on the door. You know what I'm saying? Open the door for y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's
okay,
like,
that's good, Will. Thank you. That's good. So there you go. So let me just say this. Can I point out the contradiction in Stevie J's statement when he talks about the overuse of force, the excessive force, that, the same kind of force that was unleashed against the likes of Saddam Hussein, El Chapo, Pablo Escobar, Osama bin Laden. Nigga, are you fucking serious? Are you serious? They did Diddy like they did Bin Laden, nigga. They was dropping bunker busters on top of his Star Island mansion, nigga. If you don't shut the entire fuck up with that dumb shit, are you serious right now? Well, hold on. What did Stevie J say? So there we go. It was overuse of force, excessive force. Well, then Stevie J, in his own admission, did not get put on the ground by police. I mean, he didn't claim that they have been abused at all by the police. And don't mistake me here. It's fuck the police always, every day. 25-8 out this bitch. It's fuck the police. Please make no mistake about that. But it don't sound as though the police were abusive to Stevie J in that instance. As he said, he was the only one home at Diddy's mansion when the feds came a raiding. But okay, so we have Diddy as not having underground tunnels at his house to do the sex trafficking, because how else do you sex traffic if you do not have tunnels, right? We have Stevie J saying that Diddy, this is the worst race since Bin Laden, niggas. This is the worst race since they did Escobar, right? And not Pablo, nigga. Hold on. We're not finished because the surrogacy, it continues to get worse. So, let's go to this next one. Let's stick with TMZ. Big up to the Harvey and Charles sometimes, because sometimes Harvey and Charles be on some nonsense, but sometimes Harvey and Charles get it right. And, I want you guys to check this out. So prior to the Stevie J interview on TMZ, maybe a week or maybe a few days before, the person who co-founded Revolt TV with Diddy, his name is Ramon Dukes. Now, he was interviewed on TMZ in response to the news that Revolt's, Diddy percentage that Diddy had, I guess, abdicated when he stepped away from the company after all these allegations, etc. That Diddy's percentage ownership, his stake of the company, had been purchased by another Black person in order to keep Revolt Black owned. I would like to see the numbers on that, but that's a separate issue. So here's the guy who co-founded Revolt TV with Diddy. His name is Ramon Dukes. And he talks, I want you guys to listen. Again, we're talking about the terrible surrogacy here, okay? And here's the thing, guys. If you ever get in trouble, and some of y'all go out there and get in so-called good trouble, and that's wonderful. And I consider even what I do here a little bit of good trouble. And watching this Diddy thing unfold, because to be clear, I have absolutely no sympathy for Diddy in this whatsoever. But it is making me think about who the fuck that I would ask or allow to go in front of cameras and microphones to speak on my behalf if I were to get in trouble. and I'm very bewildered at the fact that Diddy is this big, powerful A-lister, and the motherfuckers that is going on television to speak on his behalf are saying the most ridiculous things. And Ramon Dukes is no exception. So we're going to pick up the interview with Harvey and Charles. And Ramon is being asked about having attended any of Diddy's parties and whether or not he witnessed any of the salacious activity that has been detailed in some of these civil lawsuits, or that has been at least long rumored about. And I want you guys to, again, please put your listening ears on, because when the ridiculousness comes, it comes hard and fast. And sometimes it leaves you in a bit of a 3-second delayed shock. Like, did this motherfucker, did I just hear? So anyway, guys, we're going to pick up the interview. Ramon is being asked about Diddy's parties and what was going on at Diddy's parties. And listen to what Ramon says. And he gives us a little bit of a history lesson of the music industry and its long relationships with dealing with young women who are enamored by the stars. So take a listen to this, y'all, please.
I've had countless times where I've been, honored to be a guest at these parties. I personally have never seen anything there, but, that environment, things tend to go left, but just because something might happen, some guest at his party, something happened at a different location, or, in the aftermath of that event, is he, liable, for those things? I don't believe so.
So what I'm getting from you is that you think if there were things that went on that were untoward, for example, sex trafficking, you're saying that it was a third party and not Diddy. Is that what I'm picking up from you?
That's a fair enough assumption. The whole sex trafficking thing too, if you take a minute and you think about that, you go back to the origins of, the history of the music business. Guys back then were on tour buses going from Baltimore to Virginia to North Carolina. There was no private planes back then that they were really traveling on. So if you had the opportunity to meet a young lady in Baltimore, and then she ends up getting off in North Carolina, is that considered sex trafficking? I think that back then, a lot of these guys were younger and, just really trying to make their mark, in this game. And, here you have again, like decades later, it's like, hey, there's rules to this. Now everyone, fair enough, you're an adult, the do's and don'ts, but I'm pretty sure there were some things that was really vague back then that some people are being held accountable for that they probably didn't really think that much about back then. Yeah, it's always, the community around you sometimes that tend to apply like this additional pressure, to the spotlight, which is these artists.
Huh. So, Ramon, going forward, Revolt
That's good.
without Diddy,
Thank you, Will.
Still a viable media outlet?
We
or
don't care.
I mean, he really
don't care if Revolt is a viable media outlet. Guys, please send help. Please send help right away, because I got a little lost there in Ramon's historical recounting of how, I guess, men specifically in the music industry would roll when they was on tour. What if you met a young lady in Baltimore and she wanted to ride and you drop her off in North Carolina? Is that sex trafficking? Well, is she a teenager? Like, I don't know if it's sex trafficking for a consenting adult woman, but if we're talking about teenage girls, like, is she of age of consent? Like, is she 18? What's the age? And then for him to be like, people have been doing stuff for a long time, and for them to understand now it's rules to this. What's the rules? Like, y'all didn't know that consent is a thing? You didn't know that you shouldn't deal with teenage girls like in the 90s? Like, I'm confused at the timeline for what she's describing, because talk about the history and the origins. Okay, nigga, would you talk about the Chitlin circuit? Like, I don't know to what you were referring. Okay, but if you're referring to the timeline circa the height of bad boy entertainment in the early to mid 90s, late 90s, 2000s, hell yeah, all of y'all motherfuckers should have known better not to A, rape, B, deal with underage girls. Like, this should have been common sense, or something that shouldn't even be in dispute looking back at it 25, 30 years later. What you mean you ain't know? So is he saying Diddy didn't know? Like, what is he saying? We do know that at least one of these civil lawsuits filed was by a woman who, at the time of her alleged assault by Diddy and some of his executives, was a teenage girl, a 17-year-old. And that's why she filed in federal court in New York Southern District, because she's alleging, again, that she was trafficked across state lines in where? Diddy's private plane. So I guess Diddy was doing this when he was just on tour buses and shit. And then when he got the private plane, well, then allegedly it made all his activities a little bit more easier, a little bit more concealed. So there's that. So listen, y'all, to my awareness, those are the first two public defenses that I saw of Sean Combs on a national media outlet. And I said, that was fucking terrible. Okay, please do not let. And again, that's why it got me to thinking. I said, dog, I can't, obviously, you cannot just let anybody get up in here and start defending you, because they're going to make your shit sound worse. Stevie J and Ramon Dukes did no favors for Diddy in the court of public opinion with those answers. He did not have bitches under the goddamn tunnels in his mansion, and Diddy cannot be held liable for what third parties do after they leave his party. What? what kind of people you inviting to these parties? Oh, we're gonna get to the parties here in just a bit. But the next thing that I wanted to show you guys is the clip that I took very much as a threat. Okay, so obviously Diddy's people know that he's not getting good public defense out here. So his boy Stevie J posted on his Instagram a clip from Diddy's 50th birthday party, okay, where all the A-listers were out. And when you see these folks, it ranges. The first person you see, I believe, is Kobe Bryant, right? Which I thought was a little too on the nose. I'm like, hold on. I know Kobe the GOAT and he gone, and rest in peace to Kobe. That's fine. But I don't know if y'all remember, but somebody had also accused Kobe Bryant of sexual assault. So I'm like, wow, okay. So the rapists all do hang together. I guess I wasn't wrong about that. So anyway, you're going to see Kobe. You're going to see Kim Kardashian. You're going to see Jigga and Queen Latifah and Post Malone and this one and that one. And what I took from this clip that you guys are about to see. Oh, by the way, Will, you might as well run that bitch as fucking B-roll, because YouTube is going to ding us because it's like music and shit on it. Are you able to do that? I don't know if I'm trying to take a strike for no fucking Stevie J.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me know when you're ready to run it, or you could just start running it at any point after now. But let me tell you guys, because of the lack of public defense, again, Diddy has been, keep looking at this video. Diddy has been an A-lister for a long time. All of the A-listers are always very fawning and gushing when describing P Diddy's notorious events and the spectacle and the over the top and the opulence and all of the fun and the shenanigans. And it's such a fun time with Ciroc pouring from the ceiling. But for Stevie J to post this, the timing to me is pretty interesting. He posted this after his disastrous appearance on TMZ. And the message that I'm getting from this is that all y'all motherfuckers, y'all better fall the fuck in line. I feel as though the celebrities that were featured, in the hyper edit of this little clip, I feel as though like that's them being put on the Summer Jam screen. Like, okay, is Diddy saying, nigga, if I'm going down, everybody going down. Like, if Diddy goes down, you go down. And who is you? Take your pick. All of yous that ever showed up to a Diddy function, everybody going down. Everybody going down. And let me tell you something. I don't know the specific ways in which these Hollywood relationships operate. I mean, kids, they do call it Hollyweird for a reason. Who in the fuck knows what all or any or some or none of these people have participated in under the watchful eye of Demon Diddy? But for Stevie J to play that clip in the absence of any of these folks specifically, or anybody of some major status, to not come out and defend Diddy, ooh, that silence is deafening, beloveds. It is deafening. I took that as a threat. What do y'all think? Do y'all think? I mean, how else could you take that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Stevie J, that wasn't your 50th birthday party, nigga. That was it. Is it even Diddy's birthday? Like, I mean, what is the connection? What is the context? What other reason did you post that? If not to put all of those people featured on notice, some sort of unspoken, nonverbal notice. Like, we see you not saying nothing. But niggas is not saying nothing because they know chances are. And it's not even so much that it's chances are. It's that all, what did I say in another show, y'all? All these niggas run together. They all run together. If Diddy is a dirtbag, what makes you think that anybody else in any of those videos are not dirtbags? And that's not to say that every guest at every Diddy function is in on the fucking foolishness, is in on the harm. No, I'm not going to say that. But some of them are. Maybe not all of them, but definitely some of them. Hold on, I'm not done with y'all yet. Because the conversation in the community is something, this is where we transcend from like, and I don't even consider this gossip, to be perfectly honest. I do consider it entertainment from the perspective of I'm laughing at the piss poor surrogacy, like the very poor level at which Diddy is being publicly defended, and I think he deserves that as well. But when we broaden this out to the way that these kinds of events play out in the broader community, and I'm speaking specifically about the Black community, there is always a rush to encircle the powerful, usually black man in this instance. And it's not just P Diddy. We have some precedents here when it comes to the likes of Bill Cosby, when it comes to the likes of R. Kelly, when it comes to the likes even most recently of Russell Simmons. We have a lot of people closing ranks and not wanting to really fully question what it is that these men are accused of. And that comes from an internalized hatred of black women. Okay. The broader white supremacist society hates black women. No, no, no. Who said it that I actually just read? I think it was Kimberly Crenshaw, the black woman who developed all the stuff around intersectionality. But it was, where did I hear this? I'm going to attribute, I attributed it already, but let me say the quote better. Kimberly Crenshaw said that black men are feared, black women are despised. Okay. And there is a despise for black women that even permeates our own community. And it comes out when we have these sort of spectacular water cooler kind of events that people talk a lot about amongst themselves, and in this case in public. So I want us to go to a clip from the Stephen A. Smith show. And again, I need you guys to forgive me, because you guys know, please give me some grace here, because I normally don't do shit. I don't comment on the fucking commenters. I told y'all that numerous times. Like, I do not like to do that. That is not my genre. I don't care to do that. But when it comes to the way that these conversations in amongst black folks are playing out, I think it's relevant. So we're going to go to Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Speaking with Uncle Luke and Luther Campbell for y'all, because I know some of y'all might be too young and some of y'all might be too old. But Uncle Luke used to run the 2 Live crew. Me So Horny. If you don't know what Me So Horny is, go look it up. 2 Live crew. You enlighten yourself, kids. But anyway, so Uncle Luke was on Stephen A. Smith, and they were talking about Kanye and Diddy. And the conversation, you're going to hear it, and it goes kind of like this. Like, they both sort of agree that Kanye is going to have a harder time coming back because he besmirched Jewish people. Now, they don't come out and say Jewish people, but they say that Kanye was critical of people's religions. Okay. I don't think he was critical of Judaism specifically. I think Kanye was being a fucking Nazi and spewing a bunch of anti-Semitic bullshit, but okay. So there's that. But they say that actually they think Diddy has an easier path back, and they don't say why. But I'm going to tell y'all the why that they think Diddy is going to have an easier way back, even though they're not going to say it. It all has to do with because Diddy harmed black women. He also harmed poor black people, groups that America doesn't give a fuck about. Okay. You can harm black women till the fucking cows come home. There's nothing going to happen to you. Maybe R. Kelly, but you're going to get to harm black women for 40 fucking years before anything punitive is ever done to you. So anyway, I like to pay attention to what is said and also to what is not said a lot of times. So I want you guys to pay attention to what is said and also pay attention here to what is not said from Stephen A. Smith and Uncle Luke. Let's take a look.
You brought up Kanye West as well. This is the music industry. It's like a metaphor for resurrection, for crying out loud. There's always a second chance. There's always additional opportunities. With Kanye West, I believe that to be the case. With P Diddy, I'm not so sure. It depends.
Well, Kanye, he can't get a sample cleared.
Wow.
He got bought out all these venues.
So you think he's in more trouble than Diddy in terms of being able to resurrect his career?
I think Diddy probably can weather the storm more so than Kanye.
Okay.
Because Kanye is at a place right now where he's barred out of arenas. He can't get records cleared. He can't get features. Nobody don't want to do features. And in this day of entertainment, unlike when we grew up, there wasn't no features. These dudes need to be on there with other people, and so he's going to have a harder time. Diddy may be able to come back from this. Diddy
if he's innocent.
If he's innocent. When you think about it, there's no charges pressed.
Right, no charges.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
it's like they're trying to embarrass him stain him, etc. If there are no charges, and there's not going to be any charges. If they charge him with something, we can't think like that. That's a different game.
That's a whole other movie, right?
Homeland Security.
Yeah, Homeland
Security. Ain't local, ain't LAPD.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
The
Miami PD, the federales. You know what I'm saying? That's a different ball game.
So Diddy would have to go back. Because Diddy ain't made all kind of statements about people's religion and all that.
That's right.
You know, Diddy could come back from it. He could go have a conversation with certain people. And again, like you say, you're going to need friends.
Right.
You know, and some friend down the line may say, okay, all right, you know, kind of work this thing out and take these handcuffs off me. Literally take the handcuffs off me. And then he could pretty much kind of...
But Kanye's different. Because Kanye talking about people's religion, religious beliefs.
When you go into that, and when you go to bread, and you know, all kind of, when you get into politics, and so you then, you know, you're losing people all across the board, and you know, you got to know what you're talking about. So you're all over the place. It's gonna be tough for him. I think, you know, it's gonna be enough people can vouch for Diddy as being a good person and not a bad guy, because he's not a bad guy.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I knew him from the time he was with Big.
Right.
You know, and when they were together, and he's a real sensitive dude way back then. Even, you know, now he's just he's a nice, humble guy. He's not this big animal. You know, I don't know what people do at the end of the party, because when I go to the party, Steve, I leave.
Right.
You know, when that party get too good, it's time for me to go.
You leave good parties.
Yeah, I leave good parties.
And you leave good parties, and you leave somebody else to have a good time.
Yeah, and I hear about it the next day.
Right. But you ain't participate.
No, negative. I'm not gonna, no.
You ain't participate in the parties in South Beach. The after parties in South Beach.
No.
With every flavor you could imagine.
Well, I created my own parties.
Why we keep hearing from niggas that keep leaving the party early? Y'all motherfuckers was not hip to what the fuck is going on. So maybe you don't have the space or the capacity to answer honestly. Well, maybe let me rephrase, to answer informedly about what was going on, right? And that's okay. Uncle Luke left the party early. Ramon Dukes from Revolt TV left the party early. Okay, so y'all don't know what the fuck was going on. Y'all don't know what happened after midnight. Y'all don't know what happened after 1 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that people are reacting to their interactions with somebody. And trust me, let me be clear. That is a very difficult position to be in. I am acquainted with a person who had an accusation against them. And I was deeply, deeply bothered by it. And part of the reason I was so bothered by it is because that's not the impression this person ever gave me. This person was nothing but always respectful and deferential and kind and gracious and nice, a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Nothing but those things to me. That was my full experience with that person. So when I heard accusations about that person, like I kind of had to check myself on the inside. Okay. Like, okay, well, that's not my experience, but that doesn't mean that's not every woman's experience. And this is what I need our brothers to really understand. Like there are levels, and not to say that women don't do this, but women don't have power. Okay, so let's be clear. But just because a person, in this case, a man, we're talking about man-woman dynamics, right? Simply because a man shows respect to some women does not mean that is a blanket respect shown to all women. Okay. Men treat women different based on their levels of respect. But I mean, like, even in the way they speak to them, in the way that they carry, the way that they behave around them, like all that shit changes depending on the level of respect a man has or does not have for you, whether or not that man is interested in you sexually or not, whether or not that man regards you as someone that could be helpful to him in his life or not. Like he will treat you accordingly based on those things. So simply saying that Diddy was a nice guy because he was nice to me, well, that don't mean he was a nice guy to his partners. That doesn't mean he was a nice guy to people that he regarded as less than him, right? So I feel like people are openly admitting They're blind spots when it comes to folks, and even in the ways that they themselves are taken by celebrity and taken by the spectacle of a P Diddy soiree and all of that. So again, I was a little disappointed, but also it was very well. I mean, I can't, disappointed is not the right word. I don't expect much from Luke and fucking Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if Uncle Luke and Stephen A. Smith are even capable of disappointing me. So let me refrain from using trite statements. That is an untruth. I am not disappointed. I'm just, sharing it with y'all, and y'all, maybe y'all are disappointed. I am not surprised by any of this. So hold on, by any of this response or reaction, I should say. So hold on. So that was Uncle Luke and Stephen A. Smith. Obviously, you heard that, Diddy just is accused of hurting some bitches. He can get over that. He can put the influence on some of his powerful friends to take the handcuffs off of him, literally or proverbially. And I think Diddy can make a smooth comeback. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. So the next clip I want to go to is from Ed Lover. And I was very disturbed by this clip also. I was very disturbed by this clip because there's a sister in it all co-signing a lot of the bullshit that Ed Lover is about to say. And he's about to say a lot of the same stuff, that he wasn't at the party late, he had to get to bed by 1:00. All right, nigga, cool. So you wasn't there when the debauchery was happening. So shut the fuck up. But he's going to get into this whole notion of the black man being taken down. And to be clear, y'all, for my brothers out here, do me a favor. Please do not see yourself in Diddy, in Russell, in R. Kelly. Don't see yourself in these niggas, okay? I understand these niggas is rich and they got bitches and they got mansions, they got Bentleys, they got all this shit. They got all that shit. They got white women's. They got all the shit. They got all the shit right there that they try to tell you. This capitalist world tries to tell our brothers that these are the things that you need in order to be a man or to make yourself your man. Fuck that. These niggas are dirt bags, okay? Dirt bags. I don't give a fuck what they got. I don't give a fuck about their status, level, money, mansions, bitches. I don't give a fuck. You do not need to uphold or admire or defend any of these fucking dirt bag ass niggas. Why? Because these niggas are terrible. Okay? And are they terrible exclusively as black men? Absolutely not. There are an ocean of white men, white men and other backgrounds. Like, no, black men are not out here on an island of exclusive terribles of these particular terrible men within a larger collective of mostly non-terrible brothers. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, this is the path that Ed Lover's about to go down. You know what I'm saying? Taking down all the brothers, taking down all the brothers. What about all the fucking sisters that these goddamn and brothers, sisters and brothers, that dirt bags like Diddy and Russell and R. Kelly and Weinstein and Epstein all exploited and harmed? We have to get off of these tropes, y'all. I need y'all to push back against the shit when you hear the shit in real life. When y'all hear this shit, like what Ed Lover's about to say, when you hear the brothers at the barbershop, when you hear your uncle in there watching Judge Mathis start talking about this shit, check that shit. Anyway, let's run the clip.
And all I could go by is how Diddy treated me. We're always respectful, always cool. We're supposed to do some business together that didn't pan out. But we've always been cool all the time. Always the Playboy this, Playboy that. The funny thing is, I have Diddy with my sign, original sign, doing, come on, son.
I think I seen that.
Yeah, somebody sent it to me. So I got Diddy with the come on, son sign. So it's always cool being in the presence of Diddy. Always cool being at Diddy's parties. I have never been involved or seen any of his quote unquote freak offs that people are saying that he had. I was never a part of that. I always knew when it was time to go home. But it's somebody, I believe what I just saw Uncle Luke say earlier today, that this is a machine coming after this dude. Yeah. Like, I think, and I said this publicly, and now for the first time, I'm going to say this on my podcast, I think it's Diageo. Really? Diageo is fucking powerful. These people put money behind political campaigns. They're the second or the third largest alcohol distribution company in the world. Right, and Suntory is one of them too. Yeah. But Diageo is big. Puff made a lot of money for Diageo and with Diageo with Ciroc. Ciroc became so big that Diageo was fine with people thinking it was Puffy's liquor and never was.
Yeah.
Well, then here comes the De Leon.
The De Leon.
Right. And De Leon comes out, and then they buy Casamigos from George Clooney and them for $400 million. So of course, if I just spent $400 million or something, or however much they gave George Clooney his partner, I'm going to start pushing that.
Yeah.
And De Leon kind of got pushed on the back burner. And then Puff all of a sudden decides to sue them for racial discrimination. All of this shit comes out right after that. Right after the Cassie case came up, then all the other cases from the Adult Survivors Act in New York came up. Now the kid Little Rod, who's supposed to be a videographer or a producer, produced on his last album, or his shit is coming up. He's suing everybody. All of this shit is coming right after he said, Diageo, y'all racially discriminated against me and tried to sue him. We know how a lot of people feel about black people.
Yeah.
When you get money with them and they getting a lot of money, you got to always remember in their eyes and in the back of their minds, you ain't nothing but a and that's all you ever going to be. I don't give a how much money you worth. To me, you and don't get out of pocket. Why did all this stuff start happening? Right with the Diageo, to me, the shit is written on the wall, plain to see for anybody to see. That there's somebody that got some money or put in their foot in Puff's ass. I'm telling you, he had to sell his shares of Revolt. He has no ownership of Revolt no more.
No, I know he doesn't.
His reputation as a businessman is shot. He'll never get another distribution deal. Bad Boy Records, for the most part, are done. It's done, babe. It's done. Somebody out there Puff worse than they tried to Russell Simmons. This is the thing where people are failing to realize where everything, all the raids and all that, Puff has yet to be arrested. He has not been arrested, but he's being vilified, and he hasn't been formally charged with any crime.
I think they just want to ridicule him and bring him down to nothing.
But why? Why, babe, here's my shit. There have been several radio corporations that shall remain nameless, and I know who they are, you do too, because I told you, that have stopped playing Puff's music.
Yeah.
Don't play his drops. Don't play him in the mix. Don't do anything. Let me play the devil's advocate for a second if I can. Why isn't any streaming services taking Harvey Weinstein's shit down?
Exactly.
He was over New Line. If that's the case, then you can't play Who's the Man no more.
Why are we worrying about Puff at this time right now? You need to be going up in Nickelodeon. Okay,
right.
You need to be in Nickelodeon. The shit that they've been doing for years to these children.
Right.
That's where you need to be.
Puff, to me, is being vilified to keep our.
That's fine. That's enough. There's a lot to unpack here, and I'm gonna try to be brief. So first, let me start with the last stuff first. You know, why go after Puff instead of you need to be going after Nickelodeon? Go after all of the motherfuckers. Why is it that we have to pick one or the other? If there are black people harming other black people, go after them too. Like, and to be clear, at Nickelodeon, at least per the documentary, the Quiet on Set interview documentary, the man who was convicted of molesting actor Drake Bell when he was a teenager was convicted and did go to jail. He only did 16 months for a child molestation and was able to go out and get a job at Disney afterward, but he was white. I mean, that's how I go for white folks. But this is not an either or sort of premise. Like, I mean, if there are white harmers and abusers, get them the fuck out of here. If there are black harmers and abusers, get them the fuck out of here. Don't play that, oh, well, we got to protect our black men because the white man's going after him. No, fuck that. Let's protect the black people, men and women, harmed by Diddy's harmful actions. The other thing from that clip, it was giving me big, well, you know, Bill Cosby trying to buy NBC, and that's why they're going after him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all didn't hear nothing about no rape accusations against Bill Cosby until he tried to buy NBC. Now, y'all know they don't like niggas with money. The fucked up parallel that these motherfuckers is failing to correctly observe is if Bill Cosby and by extension Diddy, if they didn't do any of this rapey shit, what is there to go after? You think, and this is not a defense of Barack Obama at all, but my point is, if you think for a fucking second that Barack Obama was out here in his single life beating women, sexually harming women, smacking white women, nigga, we would have known about that shit, okay? As much as a fuckboy as Obama is, to his credit, that nigga knew he had to be the perfect Negro in life. Like, he had that understanding from early, from when he was a young man. Barack knew that he had his eye on the prize and he had to be the perfect nigga out here. No arrests, no weed possession, no domestic violence calls, no white women that's gonna come out and say that he did me bad, or anybody, right? So my point is this: Diddy and Cosby. Well, let me say, Diddy is accused in the public, not accused criminally. But Bill Cosby, on the other hand, had a lot of shit come out about him. And it's like, at the end of the day, niggas, if you didn't want the white man to come after you, then nigga, you need to wipe your ass a little better. You need to clean up your shit way better. Okay. Not even fuck clean up. How about how about don't be a dirty dude to start? The other part about Ed Lover's take had to do with the radio stations that I thought was pretty interesting. He said that at a number of radio corporations have pulled Diddy's music from the playlist, pulled Diddy's drops. And I said, wow, that's surprising, because I can tell you guys, long after R. Kelly's accusations were well circulated in the public sphere, I can attest to you as a witness that R. Kelly's music remained in a regular rotation, specifically on Black radio stations and Black formatted radio stations for decades. When y'all say, safe to say decades after he had been brought up on charges of child pornography, etc. Radio stations refused to pull R. Kelly's records even after he was convicted of some of these charges. Not the federal charges. I'm talking about the ones that, or at least, oh my God. Can I tell y'all a story real quick? And I'm going to be brief. It was spring of 2008. Maybe I've already told y'all the story, and I'll be brief, like I said. I want to say it was May of 2008. I was living in St. Louis, but I was getting ready to leave St. Louis because I had lost my job. And I was finally able to get out my lease, and I was about to move back home to Maryland. But before I did, I had a friend of mine take a job in Chicago, and I was going to go up there to visit them and their partner. And it was my first time to Chicago, so I fell in love with Chicago. I said, "Oh, it's nice." I said, "But it's May 27th. Why is it 50 degrees?" I was like, why do I need on layers? And here we are in May. James, you know what I'm talking about. First time I was in your city, I said, "Nigga, where is spring? Where is it?" It has not arrived. So anyway, the first day I'm there, listening to the radio. The big heritage Black station in Chicago was V103. I'm listening to V103. It's noon. So every Black radio station in America does like a noon mix, or at least they did at the time, like a mix hour. What Ear Doctor does, right? Okay. They came on the mix. They're doing the mix, and all of a sudden, here come the air personality breaking into the mix. Y'all, breaking news. Robert, not guilty on all charges. And all of a sudden, the DJ drops "Not Guilty." I'm sorry, who was on that R. Kelly "Not Guilty" song? Wait, I can't remember. I'll remember. I can't remember who did "Not Guilty" with R. Kelly. Anyway, they played that joint, and I was y'all can imagine how I was. I said, wow. Like, not that R. Kelly is not guilty of the gun possession charge, or not guilty of paying his parking tickets in Chicago. No, they was rejoicing because R. Kelly was found not guilty on some child molestation shit. I said, holy fucking shit. We have totally lost our minds. So I said that to say, so to hear that radio stations, in the face of these most recent Diddy allegations, have preemptively pulled his music, I think is a very positive step. Now, some would say, well, he hasn't been charged. He hasn't been convicted. Sure hasn't. But there's a lot of dirtbags walking around here with bodies of all kinds on them, right? people they've killed, people they've harmed, people they've raped, people they've hit, people they've abused, right? The law should not be our barometer as to whether or not somebody is a dirtbag and deserving of our time and our admiration. Like, we can kind of discern certain things here, guys. And when there's smoke, there's fire, and especially over a multi-decade time frame, everybody ain't lying, shorty. Everybody ain't lying. Oh, what was the other part about what Ed Lover said that I wanted to, it was the Diageo. What did I say? Something about Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC. Yes. That's what all this Diageo shit smacks like to me. Okay. What about Nickelodeon? Yeah, I said that. Okay. What was the other thing? Anyway, I might have touched it all. I think I had one more thing left. And, it wouldn't be fun if we wasn't talking about some of the more prominent voices in our community. And for some reason, one of those voices is Charlamagne, and I don't understand how that happened. I'm in deep confusion, though I'm not, though, because. Anyway, so Charlamagne expressed some sadness behind the fact that some of his childhood faves seem to be going down in flames, right? And again, this isn't Ronald Isley not paying his taxes. You understand? This ain't Ron Isley not paying the taxes. And this is what I need niggas to get a grip of themselves and under fucking stand. This man is accused of multiple harms that we know of. So, Charlamagne, first of all, hold on. I'm sure a video has been done at some point. Has anyone ever asked this black man why the fuck he named his stage name after a European conqueror? Has anybody asked him that? Nigga, you named yourself after a cracker? Why? Shit. You niggas is lost, dog. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, listen to Charlamagne. Charlamagne. There we go. That's my new John. I'm gonna call him Charlamagne. There we go. Did this nigga support y'all? I don't care. I like the way Charlamagne sounds. Henceforth, he shall be referred to as Charlamagne. There we go. So here's Charlamagne. I'm liking it even better. Charlamagne, he's so disappointed, and not even disappointed in the behavior of his faves. Disappointed that these niggas is going down in flames in front of everybody. So let's take a look at that.
What the fuck is this?
That's what I'm talking about. They back him out.
This is the raid? This is Diddy raid?
Yes, bro. They arresting whites. They was arresting whites.
This is too much.
It is too much.
Unless they know something that we don't fucking know.
Thank you.
But then I also, too, I wonder how much the internet plays into this type of shit. I wonder if, these people are online and watching these YouTube videos and buying into these conspiracy theories and they're getting phone calls and anonymous tips and probably a bunch of anonymous tips because of what the internet is fueling. I wonder if that's causing people to, to react like this. Because this is crazy, bro.
It's crazy.
This is a fucking raid. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know, man. I just don't like it. I don't like it just because it's sad. How many people's legacies have we watched burn to the ground? From the Russell Simmons, from,
But it's
Diddy.
good that they burned to the ground if they did fuck shit.
Sure, but it's you
still sad.
So it's
that
just one emotion. Y'all all lying to yourself if y'all say, yeah, good for them, fuck them. These guys fucking provided the soundtrack to our lives. They contributed to culture in real ways. Before we knew any of this shit, from the Harvey Weinsteins to whoever, we all were inspired by them if you were in entertainment because you wanted to build what they've built.
They have a room with...
You're a liar. Who do you love? Who do you love, Taylor? Who do you like? Just in general. Who inspires you?
Megan Thee Stallion.
Who?
Issa Rae.
So if God forbid some bullshit like this, you found out Issa Rae was in the shit like this, that wouldn't hurt your feelings?
I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt.
Okay then, so I don't know why. So that's why I don't understand when people are so quick to be like, No, fuck that. You have feeling, you have mixed emotions.
After that whole Cassie thing, you don't know what triggered that from other people though. Like, say someone else had that.
I understand all of that. I'm taking all of that into consideration. I'm taking the victims into consideration. I'm taking what's going on with them in the Diddy and all them.
About the whole
situation. It's mixed emotions.
It's like OJ.
No, I never felt like that about OJ.
Wait, what?
I mean, I didn't grow up on OJ though, so I mean, I didn't feel like that.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I didn't grow up. I didn't feel like that.
It's not OJ. It's like Harvey Weinstein. Like you saw Shakespeare in Love, and you're like, this guy, wow, he made this movie.
To me, it's like Bill Cosby.
That's another one. That's another one.
Bill Cosby.
Yes.
Bill Cosby hurt my feelings a lot.
But that's what I'm saying. Who can? Anybody saying otherwise, they're lying, or they just never had a connection to these people in regards to culture ever.
Okay.
You're not gonna sit here and tell me that you look at the Russell Simmons. And by the way, I'm not even gonna put Harvey Weinstein in there because I didn't feel like that about Harvey Weinstein. I'm lying. But the Russell Simmons, the Bill Cosbys, the Diddys, you're lying if you don't. It's the same thing when I see Kanye, even though Kanye's situation doesn't have anything to do with, sexual abuse or anything like that. It's just like, yo, you hate seeing people burn their fucking legacies to the ground.
Yeah.
Especially when it's allegedly self-inflicted.
Yeah.
When it's just shit that they could have just not done.
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
No, I get what you're saying. Some people are probably interpreting this as if you have a lack of compassion for the victims.
I 100%. I have compassion for it all.
Well, also, right now, we don't know of any victims.
Oh, no, we do.
Right now, there's not a single victim. We know some shit went down.
Yeah.
What I'm just saying, legally, like just how,
got you. I get
just
what
how
you're
like
saying.
OJ is legally innocent.
I got you. Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, we're gonna have every gigolo from around the block coming out, and be like, yo, I used to fuck for Diddy. That might be a badge of honor for a jig.
You're right.
So I remember the point I was going to make regarding the last thing that Ed Lover, one of the things that he said, because they just brought it up here in terms of Harvey Weinstein. If that's the case, that if you can't play none of Diddy's records and take all Harvey Weinstein shit off streaming, nigga, was Harvey Weinstein acting in the fucking movie? was he playing opposite of Gwyneth Paltrow in any of these fucking movies? What are y'all even talking about? Harvey Weinstein was the money. He was the green light behind the shit. He was not the talent. He was not the reason, by and large, that some of these movies were successful. Yeah, I'm sure he played whatever role he played behind the scenes from a professional standpoint, not from his creep standpoint, even though I know they overlapped constantly. No, there's no reason to feel, we got to take Harvey Weinstein's, because it is not his art. That's his money. That's his name. That ain't his fucking art. No, you don't take that shit down. But Diddy is a different story. And to even the point pointed out by Charlamagne and crew, that Russell and Bill Cosby and this one and that one, and I can understand the hypervisibility of these as Dr. Ball says, the non-waspy factor of all of these prominent Black and Jewish men going down, and the optics and the intentionality behind that. I'm sure there's something to that, but ultimately, if these men had not committed these horrific offenses against people, they wouldn't be in this situation. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Nobody's saying that any of this shit is made up. I haven't heard that. Nobody said, no, there's no way that Diddy could have did this. They're just saying they didn't see it. And that's a difference. That's a distinction that needs to be noted. Okay, there's one thing that, sure, you didn't witness, but just because you didn't witness does not mean it doesn't happen. Okay, and I'm just very, on an ongoing way, a little hurt at the tenor of the conversation when it comes to the lamenting of the downfall of these men, but nobody laments the downfall and the harm that they caused on their victims. And I'm going to stop saying just women here, because I believe that someone like Diddy absolutely harmed men as well. R. Kelly, I believe, harmed boys as well. I say women, I usually focus on women because I am a woman, right? So be nice. be nice to me, because I'm not out here trying to exclude male victims of harm at all, in no way whatsoever. The other part about that, hold on, I had one more thing to say, and then I was going to let y'all go as it pertains to this particular topic. But it's just to the point that was also made that Diddy's not been charged with anything. He hasn't, and that's important. But I need folks to pretend as though they know how investigations work. Like, well, why are they making such a big deal? Why are they ruining his name? Why are they dragging him? He ain't even been arrested with nothing. No, motherfucker, because they just executed a search warrant. Do you know how yeah, y'all ain't never watched Law and Order? Y'all ain't never seen, and I don't mean that trash new Law and Order. I'm talking about motherfucking my nigga Briscoe, Liddy Briscoe, who was my Briscoe and Curtis and them, and then here come Ed Green and Briscoe. I'm talking about the real Law and Order. Y'all ain't never seen this shit. Just because they get a search warrant does not mean niggas is getting arrested right then and there. The government builds a case. And this ain't just a regular government. This is the Homeland Security and FBI running up in Diddy shit. The best forensic analysis, digital forensic analysis, I'm sure. And they're going to go through his shit with a fine tooth comb. And all these people who crying about, well, they ain't even been charged. I don't even know why. When them charges come down, baby, when them charges come down, what y'all going to say next? Because next is going to be these bitches is lying. That's going to be the next part. So just be ready. The goofy script gets executed to perfection every single time. Insert the character: R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Russell Simmons, Sean Combs. Like the playbook is still the same. Our people still hate women, still can't believe that we should even care about the ways in which women are harmed. I said it again, didn't I? But hold on, real quick, last point. The way that Ed Lover decried the way Diageo is executing a machine is coming after Diddy, says Ed Lover. The machine of Diageo is coming after Diddy. All this is big bank take little bank, right? In the same way that Juggernaut Diageo is coming after Diddy, a mogul in his own right, Diddy has used that same kind of violence, legal or otherwise, against people less powerful than he, right? Against his artists, against his partners, against his staff, against a variety of people that we probably don't even yet know about, right? So again, I lack empathy, okay? Even if Diageo possibly is on some racist shit, and let's say the evil empire of Diageo is helping to orchestrate all of this shit against Diddy. Diddy, with the power that he had, with the resources that he had, with the influence that he had, did the same thing against people less powerful than he. So fuck that nigga, okay? Fuck him. I don't give a fuck about this nigga getting attacked by the powerful machine of the whites. He weaponized his status and influence and resources against black and brown people. Also, poor black and brown people. People with dreams and aspirations that he exploited and coerced them into doing things that they may not have otherwise done, but for they wanted to be part of the limelight. So fuck Diddy.